was excerpts from an award-winning film called Agrinoui. It's a pilot film that I'm scaling up in production. And I will be discussing today the steps for pre-production, how we prepare to make films. I will be talking about animation, however, pre-production steps are common in films in general. There's a gravity, an extra gravity in animation, because in film, we can shoot, let's say, a scene, and maybe decide it's not worthy. We can delete it later. But in animation, we work quite differently. We do the editing beforehand. So we have methods to pre-visualize everything. But apart from pre-visualization, there are several other things that we can do to make sure we have a very good outcome. And there's a process called the iterative design process, which is gradually, step by step, we improve on what we had. So let's see. These are some of the tasks that we can take gradually before moving the project into the production phase. So we have the development of concept art. So we can just paint characters and see, visualize the style. And that will be quite helpful, because all the elements after that can attach. We can understand where this is going. We have the shooting script, which is the second step after having shot. Having written the script, we can add some descriptions about each scene and each shot. Floor plans, we'll see what these are, storyboards, and 3D pre-visualizations are other steps. Now, the concept art is not actually something that needs to be done beforehand. During the entire pre-production process, we can add concept art, but usually the other things are sequential. You describe the shots, and then you will draw the storyboard, for example. So, before starting with concept art, we can note down, jot down drafts, ideas that come up. And it's important, whenever an idea comes up, to find a way to note it down, have a sketchbook with us. Or, in my case, I like a phone with a pen. So when I take a walk and I have an idea, immediately I can note it down. Because otherwise, if you don't note it down, you forget about it. Sometimes you have good ideas and it's just gone. Right. So this designer, Alex Chaviaras, had visited the Swiss Alps, and it so happened he took some pictures, and it happened after 5 years that he had a project. And he remembered his visit, and he used his photos as reference to make what's a 3D level. It's for a video game. However, the process is similar. You document ideas, and maybe it's useful. So these are sketches, the front view and the top view. These help for the 3D visualization of the environment. But as we'll see, the top floor plan is useful in film as well, live action too. Many times in live action films, we don't draw an entire storyboard, especially if we just have a dialogue scene. But the floor plan can help us understand where the camera will be. We'll see an example later on. So these are examples of the concept art that I used for the pilot episode called Agrinoui that we saw earlier. It's the pilot episode. It won 120 Best Animated Film Awards globally. And that has grabbed the interest of producers, and we are trying to scale it up. So these pictures, I drew them without having knowledge of how the characters would be. I knew that I would have a horse that was in the script. I knew I would have a flamingo, but I didn't know the form yet. During these steps, what's important, when the resulting image is totally different from the initial concept, that means that it was a very good approach to do trials, because this was an initial drawing of Olympia, the racing horse, right? Which is totally different than the resulting 3D character, right? So I went through steps of iterative improvements. The flamingo also evolved. So right now, since we already have the pilot film, we are discussing about extending, making a feature film and 28 episodes. But we needed to have a visual idea of where this would go. So we have the style of the characters in place, and these tests put the characters into situations so that we can get a feeling of how a scene in these environments would fold out. This is another concept for a different series, for a future, let's say, group of episodes, which has the characters stored in different countries. So I've placed the characters in different locations. Because, you know, when you have an investor who's interested in producing something, he wants to get a feeling of this thing before it starts, it moves into production. So the shooting script, what it is, it's a form, right? It's a form where we have a description of each shot. It's text. We have the script, it has a typical form with courier fonts. But after that, we can take the script and have an additional document where it's separated into different shots. So in each shot, we can have these typical bits of information. What kind of camera angle do we have for each shot, for example? The description of what we see and hear. The form can be handwritten or digital. Depending on the type of production, the information can be different. So this could be for a live action film, maybe for a stop motion animation film. We might want to have a different kind of information. This is typical in scripts. We have the description of whether we have an external or internal shot, day or night scene. Maybe in another type of production, we might want to add something else that is needed, right? But it's a good start. So this is the example of a floor plan, where instead of drawing independent frames of each shot, framing and the contents of each shot in the storyboard, we can have the top floor plan and note where the positioning of the cameras are. So Eric enters the room, camera with 1 is the first shot of the scene. We are viewing Eric, and the V shape shows where the camera is angled. The arrows show whether we have some panning action, some movement of the camera. So that's a very quick way to prepare for the shooting of the day. Now, what is a storyboard? We can start by doing some drafts, doing some thumbnails, very small sketches, and see all the frames, all the shots at once on one page. And the purpose of these is just to try out a scene. It's not to demonstrate it to any clients because it's not presentable, right? This is a whiteboard with a marker We can take a marker and start trying out. This helps for brainstorming with a team. Like, okay, this is how the story will go, let's try this. This could be useful for, let's say, making a TV ad. Okay, and we have the creators of an ad, or the creation of a scene. Let's try this out, let's discuss about it. So this is a very fast way. These red markings indicate if we have zooming action, or camera motion. Arrows are useful to indicate actions of our subjects. A car can be moving in a certain direction. So when we need to present the idea, we will refine it. So a more refined style can be presented to producers and the rest of the production team. And the style is not fixed. Every storyboard artist can have something, his own style, as long as it communicates the framing and all that. Right? Here are the arrows. What many designers of storyboard artists agree upon is they have white arrows for camera movement and hollow arrows for the movement, the outline of arrows for the movement of objects, or vice versa. Now, there is software available that helps. There is software that helps for storyboarding and making animatics. This type of digital software has many capabilities. We can draw, it's a drawing application. It often is also an editing application. So we can assign a certain amount of time to each shot and then have them viewed sequentially. In my case, I have, because I have already pre-visualized 90 minutes of film, I thought I need to be more productive than that. So I started by drawing all the characters in different angles, and this is the library. So the storyboard process becomes much faster when we can grab an image and just position it somewhere, scale it up or down, and make the appearance of the frame. So that has helped significantly. And it's like, these are layers, so these are images independently. We can copy a layer and move it onto a panel that's independent. Now, this type of application also has an editing timeline. You are familiar with this with video editing software, but we can have different clips. And this is, when we play back, it will play every shot sequentially. We can adjust the timing. We can also add audio. And audio is useful for timing the dialogue. So I've used all these things. And this is an excerpt from the animatic. Yeah, we can also add rudimentary animation to show how the flow of the shots. Right, so the next step after the animatic is the pre-visualization. The pre-visualization is we take the objects into 3D space and we can make the scene. This is an example of the pilot film where we have a terrain. It's the cape of an island, right? So the pre-visualization is very rough. The geometry is very rough. This serves for us to shape the general positioning of things, and we can also position the camera angles. So when we are okay with that, we can gradually add elements that will add the detail, the lighting and all that. So this is a screenshot from the film. This is the preparation, and this is the final output. So you see, it's not like we do something and it's thrown out. We draw a storyboard panel, it transfers into the editing, and the timeline of the editing remains consistent throughout the film. So in post-production, we still have the editing choices of the animatic. So previs, we have the 3D layout of the space, and then we can add some animation to it. So here is an example of this, the animatic and the previs at the same time. You will notice that there are differences, and that means that I had the ability to revise things. I saw the results of the animatic, and within 3D space, I was able to adjust things and improve things. This goes to show that it was a valuable thing to do both steps, not directly go into production, because I was able to do improvements. So this was from a racing horse, horse racing scene. This was a shot from the storyboard. This is the floor plan of the racetrack. So we have some information about the size and the positioning of objects. This is part of the pre-visualization. This is concept art, trial of the colors, and this is the final result of the film. So in each of these steps, I was able to revise things, to look at ideas, whether there are ways to improve things moving forward. It so happens that this stage is a big stage. It's like a video game environment where we can go and explore many areas of the 3D environment. So this one stage enabled us to make all these kinds of shots. So having one 3D environment, one stage, increased the workflow because the complexity of the files was reduced. In one project file, we could have many parts of the film made. So this is another stage. It's a scene of traveling. We have a bus, the characters are on a bus, they are traveling along a road, and the floor plan shows the different positions when we have different scenes. A part of the storyboard, concept art, which sort of to just test the colors and to check if it's okay, and the final result. So after having the previs made, gradually details are added, lighting, and we have the result. And these are all the shots that were possible to make on the stage that has all these mountains. So this is the end of the talk about pre-production. And what I'm doing is I'm discussing with producers. So I have an executive producer that I met a couple of months ago in Berlin. And we are looking for a services company that could act as a co-producer. So for this purpose, I have prepared a pitch video, a video that demonstrates the concept of the production, where it's what we are trying to do with it. So we have, now it's now 28, we have 28 ideas for episodes. We have developed 3D assets, the character designs, and we have concepts for feature film. So one other element that has improved upon the pilot is a test production, right? So when we do a test, we have a chance to revise it and to see, okay, we have the film, before scaling it up, can we improve it? And yes, I did. I added fur to the characters. So in the pilot episode, the characters didn't have fur, and now they have. It's a more demanding system, but things have improved. Computers are faster now, and I was able to do these adjustments.